welcome back to my channel. It's been so long and I'm so excited to be back. Work has been a little crazy, but thank you for being patient with me. So for this week's vlog, I will share with you 5 tips that I did in order to get my job interviews, my job offers while I'm an international student here in the United States. So let's get right into it. Give you a little background if you're new to my channel. My name is Annie and I'm currently a consultant at the Big Four, and so I am currently still an international student here in the United States, and I have been living in the United States for around 8 years now, so I do understand very clearly the struggles and the hardships that international students have to go through when applying for jobs, both internships and full-time. But just a disclaimer before we start the video, I am not a recruiter. I'm just sharing it from my personal perspective. So there are some points and tips that are very overall, very vague, rather than specific to your industries and to your positions. Let's get right into it. My first tip is self-discovery. Self-discovery here meaning understanding who you are, what you like, what your interests are, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, in order to determine what industries, job positions you would like to apply for. When it comes into self-discovery, I strongly believe that self-discovery is strongly correlated to experiences, meaning that the more experience you have, both personal and professional, you're able to identify what industries, what positions best match for your skill sets. For me, when I was a fresh undergraduate, I was majored in marketing. I did a lot of experience internships wise in marketing field, in analyst field, and I did also a full-time job before going to grad school. I did enjoyed marketing, but not to an extent where I want to do it full-time. I want to do it forever, and especially in analyst role as well. I don't think I am strong candidate for analytical positions, specifically business analysts, because I do know international students, we tend to apply for STEM programs, and if you don't have a strong skill sets like I do in engineering, math, computer science, and so forth, then and you're leaning towards business, BA is probably the best route for you. But for me, when I discovered that BA may not be the route for me, because I'm competing against with all the other STEM degree major students, and I don't think I'm qualified, plus with I don't think I am proficient in a lot of programming tools. So that's why through my experiences, it helps me to understand what I like and what I don't like, and also understands, you know, what kind of positions people are looking for, or requirements the job is looking for. So that ties up to my point of, you know, understanding your self-discovery, what you're good at, what you're not good at, and how you're able to bring your strengths and your skill sets to the future employer. My second tips is networking and referrals. It's important to network, to learn from your mentors, from people who are ahead of you, to learn from them. And if they are in positions or in industries or in a business that you really like, it's a really good idea to actually network with them and ask them for tips and advice. Best way to network is, I think, is through LinkedIn, which is pretty obvious answer, but also I believe in a lot of colleges, they offer a career fair, offer like a networking session, offer exclusive mentorship program that you're able to sign up and have a direct mentor. And I think the main idea for when it comes to networking and referral is you staying proactive in asking and seeking for help, because if you don't ask, you don't get. For the job interviews that I've received, for Capital One, for Tesla. For those two job positions, somewhat I do have a referral alongside with my current full-time job at Deloitte. Deloitte is a yes and no kind of referral. To my Deloitte full-time referrals, initially how this referral helps or connections work is that when I applied, I was surfing on LinkedIn one day when I was back in MSIB, end of MSIB or start of MSF degree, and then I saw a post from a manager at Deloitte. I think he is working in Deloitte, Australia, and I, as an international at that time, I feel like it is super hard to apply for jobs in the United States, and staying in the United States is pretty difficult. So I was open for finding positions and jobs outside of the country as well. Like, I saw his post, a manager post in Australia. I reached out to him. When I read the qualifications, I don't really think I'm qualified somewhat, but I still ask anyways, so please do ask. So I did ask him for a referral, and that manager has kindly referred me into the system of Deloitte for that position. Don't remember what position was it, but it was definitely not position that I have right now. So that position, I actually got rejected without receiving an interview at all. However, I think 6 or 7 or 8 months later, when I was actively finding job for my before I graduate, I kind of connect with one of my really good friend. He working at Deloitte still, and at that time too. So I asked him if he can refer me to the two positions that I was super interested in. And when he checked the system, he did say that, oh, I'm already in the system because another person has referred me. So long story short is, this positions that I'm getting right now, it is yes, referred by a manager that referred me to another positions before, and it's already in the system. But no, I didn't have a referral directly into the positions or into the team I'm at. Step number 3 is prepare your resume. It's obvious that you need to have your resume up to par when you apply for an internships or full-time job. When it comes to resume, I think it's a skill sets that you just need to master. I am not an expertise in resume. I just learned throughout the year from each jobs, each internships I applied, I learned something new. This ties very closely to my second point about connections. I ask my friends, my professors, my mentors to review my resume to polish it to the best ability possible. I usually follow a standardized resume. I will insert here or here a rough template. I think people call it a Harvard resume template. I think the quality and the context of the resume is more important than the design. For example, the Tesla positions that I applied for was closely related to the global supply analyst role. I did have some supply chain experience, so I put that in, and especially it's a global supply chain, which means that it deals with import and export. So I have to specifically mention in my resume for World Bank, I was applying for an economic development internships, and I didn't have much experience in the economic development like professionally. However, I did have some coursework, some projects that are linked to economic development assessments, and from there onwards, I think that's how I was able to receive an interview. Tips number 4. This is probably the most important tip, is prepare for interviews. Interviews is so important. Once you get through that resume screening route, interview is the step that you really have to prepare. So if you want to know how did I prepare for my interviews with Deloitte, which is my full-time job, then leave me a comment and I will make a separate video, because I did preparations for Deloitte interview very differently. For Tesla and for World Bank, the interviews are very similar to each other, so I'm going to group it together. But when I did an interview with Tesla and the World Bank, the interviews questions are mainly behavioral, and those two companies are very spontaneous. It was a last meeting, it was a last interview request out of the blue. So the turnover rate that I had to prepare for those interviews was around 1-2 days max. You may think that behavioral interviews are easy, but no, you do need to practice. I practice a lot with my mentors. I practice a lot with my friends. I have to do a lot of research about the company's culture and positions. So for Tesla, I didn't really prepare much. I think for Tesla, I asked my friend who helped me sharpen my introduction, especially the questions that I think everyone will get in their interview is, tell me about yourself. I really hate that questions. They also ask like your strengths, your weaknesses, the experiences you have. For the World Bank, I think this tied down to connections as well, is that I do have a friend who's working at the World Bank now, and that time too. He gave me a bunch of resources. Like he gave me a 2-3 files of tasks, accomplishments, and projects that the World Bank did in the past and in most recent months. So I looked through those materials, understand, what kind of positions I'm expecting to do and what kind of team it is. And so for both of those positions, both Tesla and for the World Bank, they did ask a case study questions. It's a very quick case studies question. It wasn't like a long consulting kind of case interviews. It's just mainly a one question. For example, at Tesla, I remember they asked me for the global supply chain, they asked me, what kind of factors do you think that will impact the supply chain or the imports of products from another country into the United States? So those is a very quick thinking that you have to prepare and answer. There's no time for you to process. I mean, you can think for a minute, but it was like an interview with 3 or 4 different individuals, so they will ask you. For the World Bank, it's a little bit more challenging. They ask you like, they give you a case study as well. They ask if a coffee company or industries are planning to expand or implement it into the developing countries, what factors or what metrics do you need to evaluate the success of that coffee company in the economy and in the industries and in like the population? And thank goodness, through reading those materials, connecting with people who have worked or in that industries to give me some insightful knowledge is a key. And tip number 5, and also the last tip, I understand the struggles of international students very well, but I think this last crucial tips is wrapping up the whole thing. I think as you may heard it before, mass number is the name of the game, meaning that you just have to apply to a lot of companies. When I was still applying for jobs, both internships and both full-time jobs, I dedicate like a good hour or 2, apply like 5 jobs every day. It's all about the number games, and also when you tie to all the tips that I've mentioned before, that will lead you to a job that you would like. And so I just want to say, do not give up, because it's a very tough market and tough activities. I do know it can be quite tedious, stressful, overwhelming, but if you're able to still persevere through it, I'm sure you will land a career that you really like. That being said, I really hope you like this week's vlog. Please don't forget to give this video a huge like, subscribe to my channel if you have not done so, and I'll see you in my next vlog. Bye now.